Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live, and this is episode 218 of my show. I'm so very excited to welcome my next guest to the show, Ian Santillano, singer, songwriter, and multi instrumentalist. Debuting in 2019 with his song Love, Ian quickly gained a devoted following with his electrifying performances. His debut album, Intropy, marked a significant moment, showcasing his unique blend of soul, folk, and rock. In 2023, he released 5 new projects, each highlighting his artistic growth. Now, with Bolo Music Group, Ian aims to redefine the narrative for Filipino American musicians. Ian's in the house, and we're going to get this party started. Hi, Ian.
Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the show. How's your weekend going so far?
It's gone really good.
Yeah.
Just drove back from Sacramento, where my partner is at. Actually drove out there last night and then came back, which is like 2 hours away from where I live. Um, and it's been nice. It's been raining a lot, but also the past couple of days it hasn't been raining, so
Yeah.
it's a good balance.
Good balance. So, do you like driving that long distance?
I enjoy it from time to time. Sometimes it's tough leaving your partner to go back home. It can be like kind of sad, but
Yeah.
sometimes just driving clears the mind. I love listening to records
Hmm.
while I'm in the car for that amount of time, and I think 2 hours is like a perfect amount of like being on the road long enough to sort of space out, but not too long to like fall asleep, which can be dangerous, you know.
Yeah. You definitely don't want that. So, you mentioned that you listen to music in the car. Was there any music that you listened to this trip?
Yeah, I listened to Jacob Collier's new album,
Yeah.
Jesse Volume 4, which um is pretty crazy. I don't know if for those of y'all who are familiar with Jacob Collier, his music is um, it's just it can be a lot,
Yeah.
uh, but it's he just put this album out on the 29th, I think, or
Hmm.
the first or something like that. But yeah, so many different styles and different artists, and it's uh, really inspiring to listen to someone like that who just pulls from so much and brings so many different artists together, and just humans. I think it's really cool. So
Yeah. Because he collabs with a lot of people, but he has such a different sound and he's willing to push all of those doors open creatively. And so I feel like just because of you as a musician, it's like it's so awesome to listen to it as a fan, but then also as a musician because you can pick up on things that the average person may not hear, right?
yeah, that's what's really been cool about where I'm at now, as a musician and as a human is learning how to like to use both of those parts. Really, it's like infinite amount of parts that can be used in different ways to sort of feel the music. I think
Mhm.
that's the most important thing to do first, especially is just experience it.
Mhm.
But then when you want to like peer into behind the scenes and stuff, I also have that ability because of uh, just how much I've practiced doing that and like analyzing and stuff. But getting too sort of I don't know which side of the brain it is, left or right,
Mhm.
that gets too analytical and too just tries to explain everything.
Yeah.
And then that sort of gets in the way of just experiencing art, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so it's been cool learning how to sort of bring it back,
Mm.
balance out, like, okay, I'm here to listen and not necessarily just pick out different things that I can add into my own, like, songwriting, or whoa, that was a cool little musician thing or whatever. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to balance that out.
Definitely. So I want to talk about your childhood. So reflecting back on that time, what role did music play in shaping your identity?
Yeah. Um, you said childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think like it was immediately felt. It didn't make necessarily like sense. I didn't have to like explain it in my head. It just made sense, in how it felt to me. Whether it was like listening to music in my parents' car, when we would like drive to school to drop me off, or go to the supermarket or whatever, or to like listening to things just on TV, or in music, or in school. We had a music class, which was really cool.
Hmm.
We would sing and do vocal warm-ups and stuff. We would do like "Mama made me mash my M&Ms," and "Mama made me mash my M&Ms," stuff like that, which was it just came naturally to me, and I didn't really understand that. It wasn't. I didn't really understand that it was like something that not everyone could do until
Hmm.
later. Um, but I think because of how accessible it was to me, and just how my ear would always gravitate towards listening to things, sounds and songs and conversations and stuff. Um, it was just, it was, it was immediately just like, whoa, this is really cool. What I could do with it would grow and develop, as I would just discover more and more about what music could do, or what it could look like or feel like or whatever. But
Yeah.
as a kid, it's always been felt. Yeah.
Hmm. So when we're talking about these early childhood years, were there like any albums or singers or bands that you looked up to and you were like, this song or this album or this music video just really did it for me?
There is a radio station that still is around in the San Francisco Bay Area called 96.5 KOIT.
Hmm.
And their slogan was light rock, less talk. I think that's what it was. That's what their slogan was. But all the bands and artists that would play on that radio station were really, I feel like, the foundation of what would uh, now, like, there are songs that come up from there that I'm like, whoa, I never knew who that was or what song that was, but I remember hearing this so many times. The most recent example is this song called "You Gotta Be" by Desiree, where it goes, "You gotta be bad, you gotta be
Yeah.
bold, you gotta be wiser." So like, I never knew what that who that artist was or what that song was called, but that was one of those songs that they'd play there. There was a lot of Journey that was played on that station. Um, there was Selena that I only like a couple months ago found out it was Selena songs.
Hmm.
It's a lot of like cool stuff like that, where
Yeah.
um, whatever was playing, I couldn't tell you exactly like these are the artists, but if you play the song back, and I'm like, well, yeah, that was being pumped through my eardrums at that age. So
Yeah. And it's crazy because right, maybe you don't know the song title or the person who sung it, but you're like, I heard it so much and I know the song. And then to find out who the artist is pretty cool because then you can be like, I've heard this song for years.
exactly, it's like adds another layer of discovery to music that I didn't know was there, which is, I guess that's what discovery is all about. So yeah, I constantly go I constantly find um, new ways to connect back to stuff that was that I've heard years ago, and then and bring it back to like where I am now. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Definitely. So your musical journey has evolved significantly since your debut in 2019. So how would you describe the evolution of your sound and style?
Yeah, I think if you look at sort of like me as a human being, uh it almost sort of mirrors my sounds, I feel like. In 2019 I came out with Love, and Do You in 1856. And that was around the time when I was uh really getting into hip hop and R&B, just fresh off of learning a lot of jazz stuff. And Intropy in 2022 sort of was focusing in on more of what what is it that I like creating, and not necessarily just what can I create. And I've really found a lot of going back to singer songwriter, acoustic stuff, folk stuff, a lot of stuff that was inspiring to me, um, at different points in my life that were like not necessarily being fully expressed through 1856 in the ways that I could at that time.
Hmm.
Uh, I feel like Entropy was like a cool like bridge between more neo soul R&B stuff to more sort of like folky sort of singer songwritery stuff, but with still the edge that I have because of all the different styles that I've been really uh, really excited about. And then where I'm at now, it's sort of like trying to just be as authentic to me as possible. So it's not necessarily like uh, trying to exclude any styles that are in me or want to be out, but I definitely see my sound as an alternative singer songwriter, sort of like uh, a lot of folk and a lot of um, sort of like I don't know. It's interesting, acoustic instruments, but it's also like understanding that I've done so many cool things with neo soul and R&B and um, even like electronic influence. So I think it's similar to sort of the approach that um, someone like Jacob Collier has, where it's just like um, uh, I think someone like that has to accept all of who they are,
Right.
especially when it comes to sonics and stuff. But I think what's cool about being an artist is you get to pick and choose, like, okay, which parts are the ones that become a part of the messages that you want to say.
Hmm.
Um, so so yeah, I guess like my message has recently has been like alternative singer songwritery, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think as a person, you grow. So maybe you're listening to Jacob Collier a lot and you pull from that a little bit of Thundercat, a little bit of John Mayer. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like as an artist, you need to evolve and you need to play with those songs and really just let that speak for who you are at that time and the message that you're trying to bring across.
Yeah, that's really all you can do.
Hmm.
That's really what it is to be an artist, in my opinion, is just to
Hmm.
um, be authentically as who you are right now, and even when you put a song out to when you've written it, like you've changed already. So it's it's really just accepting uh the snapshots that you give to yourself,
Definitely.
and just being like, this is great and I want to share this. uh yeah, I think that's when I'm able to really do that. That's when I feel the best about um, the music I'm making and the music that I'm putting out and sharing. So yeah.
Hmm. So, looking back on the first album, which was released in 2012, can you talk about some of the insights into the creative process for that?
Yeah, 2019. With 1856, a lot of uh, it was almost like primarily written and recorded in this room that I'm in,
Hmm.
which looks a lot different now than it did back in 2018, 2019, and 2017 when I was really starting to get serious, I guess, about producing and stuff and writing
Hmm.
music, wanting to be my own artist. It was a lot of experimenting, a lot of um, making beats, a lot of trying out stuff that I'd learned from the guitar lessons that I was taking at the time, which were very uh, focused on jazz, which then I would like use to transmute that to like kind of neo soul type stylings and voicings and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think it was a statement for me to be like, um, I can write songs and I can produce songs and I can uh, be a dope singer and a dope guitar player. It was almost like there was something for me to prove
Yeah.
with how I created the record, which is cool because that's where I was at with my journey, and it was really special to be able to put that together, and then also work closely with Lassie, who is a good friend of mine who mixed the record for me. So it wasn't entirely done by myself, but the whole like I can put songs together and not just that, but share it and uh, have people like my music. It was something that meant a lot to me. Um, yeah, it's always gonna be something that I mean, it was my first project uh, that I've created and put out. So yeah,
And it's cool to look back on that now and be like, well, that was the first project, and like, look at where you are now.
yeah, it's it's really cool seeing all the actually the similarity between where I am now and back then, and how much like it's some of the things that I was doing then, like in terms of like my production style or like how I engineer myself and
Hmm.
stuff like that. It's evolved, but it hasn't necessarily like changed. It's almost like gotten more focused into less. When I'm sitting down to write something, I feel like I don't have to uh, experiment as much until I have something that I'm gonna like. Okay, I'm gonna write this,
Hmm.
even though if it still takes experimenting to write what I write. It's less. It's more like I trust myself instead of like, oh, is this the right sound or is this the right pattern or whatever, and sort of like uh, sometimes haphazardly like putting something together versus like, no, I intend for this to sound this way, or like blah blah blah. Leave this. I'm gonna finalize this sound versus like leaving it open for like, oh, maybe I'm gonna change that in the future or whatever. So
Hmm.
more conviction in terms of like uh, creating the art.
Definitely. So I want to talk about if there's any books or authors that have influenced your music, because I know you're a big reader.
Yeah, I enjoy reading. I sort of never really read books and never saw myself as a reader growing up, but
Mhm.
um, the past couple months have been really cool for me, like sort of dipping back into um, just things that I could do, and reading was one of those things. And there were a couple of books that I read recently. I read this book called The Four Agreements.
Mhm.
I forget who the author is, but it's a really popular like self help book.
Yeah.
Um, there's another book that I read that is also self help, but more specific to music, called Effortless Mastery
Mhm.
by Kenny Werner. And that's a really, really cool book. I read both of them on my Kindle, actually, which is out of battery right now, but um, that was really cool. Just just exercising reading, and I think reading. I even got like a library card recently, and I rented out a couple books. There's this one that I've been reading most recently called "Kingdom of Olives and Ash."
Mhm.
Writers confront the occupation, which is really cool material. Learning about this program that brought a bunch of writers over to Israel, Palestine, to just write honestly about what they're seeing over there.
Mhm.
And that's been the most recent book that I've been reading. And yeah, I love learning and love to just collect perspective. Uh, and I think what's cool about that in terms of like me as an artist is that's really like half of the job, I think, or maybe even more than half, is like collecting experience and living. So being able to do that through reading is like, oh, I, why wasn't I doing this more before, type thing, which is, I guess that's how hobbies and stuff like that work anyway. Um, that's sort of the reason why I feel like I picked them up. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and I think as an artist, right, when you're reading and you're writing and
no,
you're creating music, all that information that you get from these books, right, you can use not only just to help you yourself as a person, right, and for your mental health, but also for your artistry. So it has so many ways that it can help you as a person.
yeah, I think like that's definitely the case. It's never exclusively about music, is what
Mhm.
I'm finding out about life. There have been times where I feel like I've tried to force it into like it has to be about music, like every part of my day or whatever. But the less I find myself trying to do that, the more I feel like it's easier to say something, uh, and uh, not just create something that is for the sake of um, sounding or looking cool, but actually like saying something. Um, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff in my life that has not been directly music related that has been helping my music out a lot. So
Mhm. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So talk to me about some of your hobbies outside of music.
yeah. I love playing basketball.
Mhm.
I used to play in this thing called the CYO as a kid, uh,
Mhm.
Catholic Youth Organization. I went to private school, Catholic school in my life, for better or worse. But CYO played basketball from like third or fourth grade to like eighth grade, and um, yeah, now I play pickup basketball, and sometimes just a lot of times, mostly actually recently in the past like month and a half, just been going out and shooting and practicing and playing by myself. I've been playing catch recently. My partner's dad, I call him Unc. He let me borrow his baseball glove,
Mhm.
um, and my partner spent a lot of time over at my place in Hayward, and we were like playing catch a bunch, which is really fun. My friend Henry, who's also an artist who goes by Mild Monk, he got me a skateboard. He didn't actually get, he set one up out of parts that he had. He's like a big skater and fingerboard or so I was like, dude, I want to skate. I feel like I can skate. And he was like, "Oh, let me give you this board to start learning on." Um, yeah, I love video games, playing video games, and just like looking up news about video games. That
Mhm.
was something that I've always loved as a kid. Um, Cameras, photography. I just got this camera actually from
Nice.
this store called Mantiques. It's like a antique store, but for men, I guess, but not. It's for everybody.
Well,
uh,
wait, antiques. Well, I love that. I mean,
yeah,
like, I think because it's like we all think of antiques, but I've never heard mantiques. So, like, good marketing. Like, whoever thought of that name, kudos to them.
yeah, definitely. It's a really really cool store. They have like a bunch of like comic books and just random s- stuff like that. It's not just comic books, but um, yeah, I think there's so much of these little things um, that I love to just pick up and do, and then uh, forget about, and then pick up again. I think just because they're fun.
Yeah.
Uh, there's it. There's not really another reason for doing them other than it's fun to do, uh, and helps really make me. One of the needs that I have as a human are just to like play,
Mm-hmm.
and just have that childlike joy in um, playing, especially learning how to play. So like skateboarding, something that uh, is hard to do, but just showing up every now and again, just being like, I'm gonna push for a couple minutes or whatever, go to the park, come back. Um, yeah, it's really fun. It's really rewarding. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it keeps me uh, it keeps me excited about learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. I think when you have hobbies and you do things that bring you happiness and joy, it's so much more beneficial to who you are as a person, right? Because you just mentioned all these hobbies that you love to do, and you love to skate, you love to play ball, and cameras and the antique store. Like, that's really cool, and like you need those to just be a full human.
Yeah. It's it's uh it's like what I said earlier, where it's like, damn, I wish I was doing this before. But at the same time, it's like it's so cool just picking something up and then putting it down and picking something else up, and so yeah, it helps with my music a lot too because it's just there's more. It's life. It's a small
Yeah.
experience to collect. So
And as a musician, you have inspiration from everywhere. So it's when you have all these hobbies and you're like, oh my gosh, I was playing basketball. This thought just popped in my head. Or maybe the way the ball did that made me think of this. Or maybe even the way the ball hit the ground. You're just,
hmm
that would be perfect for this part in the song.
yeah, dude, I feel like there's so much like cross pollination in uh, things that can inspire songs or writing.
Hmm.
A big thing that has been um, like influencing a lot of these different hobbies has been the idea of like loosening up.
Yeah.
Um, I've been subscribed to being loosey goosey is what I call it. Just like when I was on the court, yeah, I would just be like, use your legs and loosey goosey, and then suddenly like, oh, I'm like I can shoot it way better just by thinking about letting go of that tension.
Hmm.
But that has been like universal between all these hobbies, and then for sure music, like the idea of letting go, the idea of loosening up, um, letting letting yourself get out of your own way to
Hmm.
do what your body can do.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that's one of those. That's why I was like, dude, I feel like I can learn how to skate now because
Yeah.
like I had tried once when I was a kid, but there was a like blockage. But now with like this whole idea of being loose and uh, being being out of your own way, it's been really helpful for me.
Hmm. And that's cool that you're able to recognize that within yourself. So, speaking of letting go, I want to talk about the importance of journaling. How does it factor into your artistic journey?
Journaling is really really important to me. Um, it's one of seven different habits that I track and I do daily. Journaling for me is like being able to deposit feelings and thoughts that you have um, that need to go somewhere uh, and you don't want to go inside of your soul. I
Hmm.
kind of see like journaling as a way to manage like a waiting room, like a reception room for like the entrance to my soul.
Hmm.
And there can be a lot of thoughts or feelings that are in there that don't necessarily belong or deserve to enter into my soul, but they're there for whatever reason. Journaling, I feel like, is a way for me to like put that somewhere private as well that no one else is going to read and that is solely for me. It's been really cool to actually feel that way about journaling and not just see it as like it's a performative ritualistic thing that I do, which I feel like that's how it's started or how
Hmm.
it's felt before. Even now, there are times that it's like uh, you have to go through the motions, but having felt like, oh wow, this is like actually doing something for me,
Right.
something meaningful and something not just meaningful, but something like that helps me feel uh, like I'm actually processing things um, that I that are making me feel not good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, journaling has been great for that for me.
Yeah, because it's like maybe you don't want to verbalize it to somebody or say it, but when you write it down, like, do you read your journals back? Like, do you do that?
I don't.
No.
I don't read them back. It's really like it's really for me to it's a very active and present and grounding thing. So um, I don't regularly go back and read what I've written. Um, I've saved sometimes, like when I've written something, I'm like, this is fire.
Yeah.
Like there are cool ideas in here. Like I'll take a picture of it, but it's really for that moment. For me just to like you said, sometimes you don't want to vocalize it,
Hmm.
or you just don't even you don't have people available for you to speak to, or like
Yeah.
um, for whatever reason. But the journal is always available for you. Uh, it's like that person who can just take everything that you say, which I don't know if anyone exists for the sole purpose of doing that for anyone. So
Right.
yeah,
So you said that you also have some other daily habits that you do, not just journaling, but you had 6 or 7 of them.
yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So I have 8 habits that over the past. This is my 26th week, going on 27 on Monday. That I've been tracking. So I stretch, I meditate,
Mhm.
I write in my journal or write anything. I brush my teeth twice a day, and like people usually will be like, "Wait, you don't brush your teeth?" And it's like a lot of times I'll skip out on brushing before bed, which
Mhm.
was a really bad habit. So I make it I consciously say I'm gonna brush my teeth twice
Yeah.
a day. Um, I jump rope. I do push-ups. I do a vocal exercise and I play guitar. Um, and these are sort of like uh in the same way that journaling has felt sort of like performative or
Mhm.
like you just have to go through the motions sometimes. A lot of these habits also feel like that sometimes, or definitely when I started tracking them felt like that. Um, but now it's sort of just like it's upkeep for me. It's
Yeah.
like daily maintenance um, that helps me just be more me. Um, it doesn't always like fix things in my life.
Mhm.
I don't. It's not really designed to do that, but it's the idea that I'm gonna show up every day for these things, even when I really don't want to show up.
Yeah.
Uh, it's it's in the same way that you invest in anything.
Mhm.
These habits have been investments in myself, very small and gradual investments over a daily basis. Um, but they've been really cool, and I feel like it strengthens the way that I love picking up hobbies and stuff. My habits are like ways for me to these are things that I don't want to just pick up and put down. They're consistent and um, yeah, they just help me show up
Mhm.
um, in life.
Okay, so I want to go over them. So, okay, outside of the brushing your teeth, you said like meditation, push
Yeah.
ups, practice guitar. Are you doing them at like a specific time of the day? Do you do them all at once? Break that down for me.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like a morning thing, so I'll get them all done in like a span of like an hour or 2 hours or something when
Hmm.
I after I wake up. Sometimes it's like I'll do some in the morning and then I'll work or do something else and then I'll do the rest at night.
Hmm.
Or I'll just like do some of them and not do all of them. So
Yeah.
it's it's a practice
Hmm.
that I don't try to limit in terms of like I have to do it during the day or I need to do these at a certain time or blah blah blah. It's
Hmm.
really whenever I can get to them that I'll do them. And like I said, sometimes when it's like sometimes I just don't get to some of them, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
The idea is just like each day, if you can do a little bit to um to better yourself at any of these things, then that's going to help um in the long run. And actually, this idea comes from this book called Atomic Habits, which I didn't mention earlier when we were talking about books, but
Hmm.
I didn't read it. I listened to the audio book version of it. And that's kind of where this whole tracking my habits thing started. Um, it's been really powerful for me because it's been a way for me to show up and take care of myself, which is so important that can be overlooked a lot when you're just living your life.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I think all those habits that you mentioned are all very powerful. And it's, I love that you do that because it's like you're investing in yourself, right? You're taking that time to say, like, hey, I'm going to do these push ups. I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do this. And you're showing up for yourself. And in return, I'm sure you probably feel great when you do them all, right? Like, it's just like that feeling that you need. And you're like, I'm taking this time for myself because I know what Ian needs today.
yeah, it's it's really cool when it just comes in handy. It just like it without you really realizing like, oh, like, this feels good,
Mhm.
or like I sang something today that felt really good or whatever. um that's really the whole idea is it's not meant to be a quick like fix for anything, but it's if you I've found that the more that I do them, the more it makes life just a little bit easier for the for maybe the trade-off is like the inconvenience of starting something new up and trying to be consistent about it. But what's cool is the longer that you do them, the more it just becomes what habits are, which are it's just your body wants to go and do them. So uh, now it feels like my it feels less like a burden of like, oh damn, I have to like do push-ups or play guitar or whatever. um it's like, oh, let's do it. And what's also cool is I don't try to like naturally I've created like sort of okay, yeah, I meditate for 5 minutes or stretch for this long. But sometimes I don't even have time for that, so I'll just meditate for a minute or play guitar for a minute, which is like sounds kind of crazy to think that that would do anything, but it's really the idea of showing up to play. Like I'm gonna be intentional and play guitar for 1 minute. It kind of changes things. So yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah, we all have the same 24 hours in one day, and it just kind of like you're a little bit more aware of how you spend your time, because sometimes I feel like when we look at our days, it's like I just wasted time scrolling on my phone. I
Yeah.
was texting, I was on, I was looking up websites, I was whatever I was doing, right? And you're just like, why did I spend so much time doing all these dumb things when I could just be investing in myself and making myself happier?
Yeah. It's it's one of those things where it's like, whoa, but in practice it's it can be hard to get there, but then when you think about it, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
of
So
course.
I'm gonna turn my light on real quick.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Oh, disco lighting. I got a little light situation in my too. But I like yours because yours is just like different colors.
Yeah, it's I have like some different like multicolored LED things in here, and every time I turn them on, they go through a little sequence like that, which is it's
I
good.
am Ian, I am into it. My disco is my middle name, so I'm digging it. So I want to talk about you signing with Bolo Music Group in October. How do you feel this partnership has contributed to your growth as an artist?
Yeah. Bolo Music Group, just first of all, shout out to them for just being down to sign me. It's been really cool. It's been really, really exciting to be a part of the different events and opportunities that I've been a part of because I'm on Bolo. We were able to go to LA and play at Spotify, which is pretty crazy. And then I got to play a show at the New Parish, which is one of those dream venues of mine. It's been like that hometown venue where I see a lot of amazing artists go through there, and it was like I want to play there one day. So it's been really cool because it's uh, helped me uh, sort of see larger and more big picture in terms of like a music career
Hmm.
and stuff. It also feels good to just be a part of something where you're being recognized and being being showcased as like a Filipino American artist. Um, I think a lot of that helps um, create like the idea that it's bigger than just me.
Hmm.
Um, like how powerful and inspiring uh, just being an artist on a label can how much power that can have
Right.
um, is is really really cool and um, Bolo is really transparent um, about like having us communicate and sort of just express who we are
Hmm.
um, with them and vice versa. And it's not been a lot of time, and to be honest, we haven't done that much in terms of like creating art, which is what I'm really most excited about.
Hmm.
Um, and it's also been scary and nervous to be part of something new and something that has no real track record. So it's not perfect, but nothing is. I'm not really interested in perfect. I'm interested in authentic and real, and
Yeah.
I think the the amount of room there is for me to be me. Uh, it only expands with this platform.
Hmm.
So really, what I am really the most excited about with Bolo is just um, deepening my connection with my art, and to see how far I can um, be that and be authentic and have that um, received by people who support me and support my art. Um, um, and that I can really trust to stand behind my vision. Uh, yeah, it's really cool. And another thing is I have to shout out my own personal team,
Yeah.
Willie and Yaz. Like I feel like since I've signed with Bolo, I've gotten even closer to my own team, which I'm so blessed to have and to have worked with and continue working with. Like it's been incredible to have people that really hold me down and are there for me, uh, musically and otherwise. And because the picture is broader, um, having people that can be there to like help magnify things when I need to, or like just help me not magnify when I don't want to. It's really special. So that's another part about signing that um has been like, I don't want to call it a byproduct because they're not a byproduct, but in the sort of the way that I'm talking, it's like a cool effect as well. So yeah, shout out to my team. Shout out to Bolo.
Yes, shout out. It's so important to have a good team of people around you because, right, if you're doing this by yourself and you don't have anyone to like, you know, come up with you, it's a lonely place. But when you have good people, honest people, people looking out for your best interests, like you said, highlighting the right things and taking back some of that stuff that you're not into, because right, as a creative, you need those people that are going to put you in the place and just be like, Ian, yes to this, no to this. And kudos to your team as well as Bolo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So your first show of 2024 is scheduled at Ivy Room. When is this show? What can fans expect?
March 14th. It's a Thursday night at the Ivy Room in Albany, Albany, California.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Fans can expect a really exciting show featuring really cool artists, Soapbox Salute and August Lee Stevens. There's some really amazing songwriters, singer-songwriters, and artists themselves. As far as like my stuff, I'm really excited to just showcase where I'm at in my performance journey, which is like one of the most uh, important parts of the whole music machine for me, just
Mm-hmm.
like performing and stuff. So excited to be bringing a really amazing band with me, and I have some new music that I'm going to be performing that
Awesome.
I've not performed before. Some of it has been released but not performed before. Some of it has not been released or performed before. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really
Amazing. So that actually brings me to my last and final question. So your 2024 is off to an incredible start. What's coming up in the next couple of months, Ian?
Next couple of months I have this show, like I said, and then I might also have a single come out around the show time. So you may or may not have heard it here first. But I may or may not have a new song coming out.
That
Uh,
means he does. He's teasing it. It's an Ashley Live exclusive, and that's great because guys, you got to go to the show to hear this song.
yeah, come to the show. It's gonna be sick.
Awesome. So, Ian, that's all the time that we have for this evening. But before I let you go, do you have any final words for the room?
Trust yourself,
Mm-hmm.
trust your intuition, take care of yourself, and free Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
We're just in solidarity for Palestinians, so free Palestine.
Yeah. Well, I love that, Ian. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. This was so much fun. Guys, if you don't already, please make sure to follow Ian. Ian, where can the beautiful people find you?
Ian_Santillano on Instagram, TikTok. Check out my TikTok. There's some really cool experimentation I'm doing over there.
Uh-huh.
Um, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. Just take the underscore out. Yeah, you can find me. Um, and when you found me, hopefully you will not lose me.
Ian, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I appreciate you. I'm so excited for your new music to come out. And if you're new here, this is Ashley Live, Vibing with Ashley Live. Guys, like this video, subscribe to my channel, give us both a follow, and have a beautiful weekend, guys. Be kind to each other and go support incredible musicians just like Ian. Have a great night, guys. Have a good weekend. See ya. Bye, Ian.
Bye.